A final and very important sign that you may be dealing with an evil person is the necessity of caution and discernment when observing someone's character over time. Islam encourages believers to think well of others, to forgive and to avoid suspicion. However, Islam also teaches us to be wise, to recognize patterns, and to protect ourselves from harm. This balance is crucial. Many people are fooled because they ignore the warning signs that Allah places before them. They overlook toxic behavior, make endless excuses for people, or hope that a person will change, all while continuing to suffer emotional, psychological, or even spiritual damage. An evil person often takes advantage of this kindness and uses it as a doorway to continue causing harm. That's why Allah commands us to tie the camel first, take the means, be smart, and then trust Him. Turning a blind eye to destructive behavior is not a sign of patience. It can be a form of neglecting your own well-being.
When a person shows you their true colors through repeated deception, manipulation, cruelty, or arrogance, believe what you are seeing. Pay attention not just to their words, but to their consistent behavior. Words can be sweet and deceptive, but actions reveal the truth. An evil person may act kind and sincere in one moment, and then show malice and deceit in the next. If this cycle continues over time, it is not a one-time mistake. It is who they are choosing to be. One of the dangers of ignoring such patterns is that you slowly begin to lose yourself. You begin to doubt your own perception, your own worth, and your own instincts. This is especially true when an evil person uses emotional manipulation, making you feel guilty for pointing out their wrongs, or labeling you as the problem when you are simply trying to seek clarity or justice. Caution does not mean harsh judgment. It means setting boundaries. It means not allowing people to repeatedly harm you under the cover of friendship, family, or even religion. It is not un-Islamic to walk away from someone who is toxic or damaging. In fact, it may be the most Islamic thing you can do if your faith, your dignity, or your mental peace is at risk. The Prophet Muhammad was wise and discerning. He distanced himself from those who were openly harmful or hypocritical. He warned the believers about individuals who caused trouble, even if those individuals appeared outwardly part of the community. This shows us that it is not only allowed, but necessary to be alert when someone's actions are consistently causing harm.
Another aspect of discernment is to seek advice and clarity. Sometimes we are too close to a situation to see it clearly. Islam encourages shura, consultation. Speak to people of knowledge or wisdom. Pray istikhara and ask Allah to guide you toward what is best. If you feel that someone is not sincere, seek signs from Allah and remain firm in your trust that He will never abandon you. Many people regret staying too long in harmful relationships because they kept hoping for change that never came. Protecting yourself does not mean you are being judgmental or cruel. It means you are taking care of the amana, trust that Allah gave you. Your heart, your soul, and your mind.
Do not be deceived by appearances, words, or emotions alone. Evil often comes dressed in charm. That is why discernment is a gift from Allah, and we must ask Him to increase us in it. When someone shows clear signs of evil, whether through lies, manipulation, arrogance, or destruction, don't ignore it. Take heed. Distance yourself respectfully. Trust in Allah's justice and know that those who sincerely turn to Him for protection and clarity will never be left alone in darkness. Light always comes to those who choose truth over illusion. One of the most deceptive and dangerous traits of an evil person is that they may appear religious on the outside while lacking true character on the inside. They may pray regularly, attend the mosque, dress modestly, quote verses from the Quran, and even give religious advice. Yet their behavior contradicts the essence of Islam. They lie, they cheat, they insult, they backbite, and they mistreat others without remorse. This kind of person uses the outward appearance of religiosity as a mask to hide their corrupt intention. It can be incredibly confusing and damaging to those around them, especially to those who assume that someone who looks religious must also be righteous. Islam, however, does not judge people based on appearances alone. It judges based on the condition of the heart and the integrity of the character.
The Prophet Muhammad emphasized over and over again that good character is central to faith. He said, the best among you are those with the best character. He did not say the best are those who pray the most or memorize the most Quran, but those who treat others with kindness, respect, fairness, and humility. So when someone uses the deen as a tool to gain status, control others, or justify their abusive behavior, that is a serious sign of spiritual corruption. These are the people who may appear pious in public, but behind closed doors, they are cruel, oppressive, dishonest, and manipulative. They may judge others harshly for small mistakes while excusing their own major faults. They use religious language to silence, shame, or manipulate others into submission. One of the dangers of this type of behavior is that it can lead to people losing trust in religion altogether. When someone who appears religious is abusive, people around them, especially those new to Islam or struggling in their faith, may begin to associate that behavior with the religion itself. This is a powerful form of harm because it not only damages people emotionally but also spiritually. It creates doubt, confusion, and distance from Allah. That is why such behavior is so serious. It is a betrayal not just of people but of the deen itself. People with this trait often use religion selectively. They apply rules to others, but make excuses for themselves. They may shame others for their dress or actions while secretly committing sins of greater severity. They pretend to hold high moral standards, but only when it suits their interests. They look down on people who are struggling in faith instead of lifting them up. They may pretend to be humble, but expect praise and admiration from others. Their piety becomes a performance rather than a sincere submission to Allah. This is not to say that everyone who appears religious is insincere. There are many sincere, humble, and righteous people who live by the principles of Islam both inwardly and outwardly. But the believer must be wise and not be fooled by appearances alone. Allah teaches us to look deeper. If someone claims to be religious but their character is harsh, dishonest, arrogant, or cruel, that is a red flag. A real believer does not just pray and fast. They embody mercy, patience, truthfulness, and justice. You will feel calm and safe in their presence. They won't need to constantly prove their piety because their behavior will speak louder than their words. If you find yourself dealing with someone who hides behind religion to control, deceive, or harm others, step back. Protect your heart. Remember that Islam is pure, and those who twist it for their own gain are accountable before Allah. Trust is not earned through appearance. It is earned through consistent truthfulness, humility, and sincerity. Never let the image of religiosity blind you to the reality of someone's behavior. Allah sees what is hidden, and He will always expose falsehood in due time. Stay close to those who practice Islam with love, respect, and compassion. Another dangerous sign of an evil person is their overwhelming arrogance and their complete refusal to admit when they are wrong. Such people carry an inflated sense of self-importance, and they look down upon others as if they are superior in every way. They believe that they are always right, and when they make mistakes, they either deny them outright or find a way to blame others. This behavior stems from a diseased heart that is filled with pride, and in Islam, pride is a major sin. The Prophet Muhammad said that even a grain of arrogance in the heart can prevent a person from entering paradise. This is not just about being confident, it is about being blind to one's faults, being unwilling to seek forgiveness, and constantly shifting responsibility onto others. Arrogance hardens the heart, blocks guidance, and leads to the downfall of a person in both this world and the next. An evil person with arrogance will make you feel small in their presence. They may belittle your thoughts, mock your efforts, and dismiss your concerns as if they hold no value. When you try to explain how their actions have hurt you, they may laugh it off, become defensive, or even twist the situation to make it seem like you are the one at fault. They cannot handle correction, and they cannot accept that they have flaws. This makes it impossible to have a healthy relationship with them, whether in family, friendship, or work. The ability to admit mistakes and seek forgiveness is essential. When that is missing, the relationship becomes toxic. Evil people thrive on control, and part of their control is making others feel like they're always wrong, even when they're not. One of the tactics they often use is to play the victim. When confronted, they shift the narrative. They accuse others of being unfair, emotional, or disrespectful. They turn the spotlight away from their own behavior and redirect it onto the person calling them out. This is a manipulation strategy designed to avoid accountability. Over time, this behavior can deeply affect those around them,
Victims of such manipulation start doubting themselves. They wonder if they're overreacting or being too sensitive. But the truth is, they are being emotionally and spiritually harmed by someone who refuses to take responsibility for their actions.
Another sign of this kind of arrogance is the inability to apologize sincerely. When they do apologize, it's often followed by justifications, excuses, or even subtle blame on the person they hurt. A sincere apology comes from humility, but an evil heart struggles to lower itself. They see apologizing as weakness, not strength. This is a complete contradiction to what Islam teaches. The Prophet ﷺ, despite being the most perfect of creation, would say sorry, make dua for others, and show immense humility. If the best of us could admit fault, who are we to think we are always right? The danger of such arrogance is not just limited to personal harm. It also distances a person from Allah. Arrogance was the sin of Shaitan when he refused to bow to Adam, claiming he was better because he was made from fire. That same attitude lives in the hearts of those who think they are above everyone else. They look down on others because of their background, their mistakes, their education, or their appearance. But Allah does not judge based on these things. He looks at the heart and the deed. A person with arrogance ruins their hereafter, even if they appear successful in the dunya.
If you notice someone who never takes responsibility, never apologizes, always blames others, and constantly belittles those around them, be cautious. Don't allow their behavior to confuse your sense of self-worth. Stand firm, seek protection from Allah, and remember that strength lies in humility, not in pride. The heart that bows to Allah cannot be arrogant toward His creation. And the heart filled with pride cannot truly bow to Allah. Choose humility and stay away from those who refuse to. A third sign that strongly indicates someone may be evil at heart is their tendency to divide and destroy relationships. These individuals thrive in environments filled with tension, misunderstanding, and broken ties. They go from person to person, spreading gossip, sharing secrets, planting doubts, and manipulating emotions to turn people against one another. They act like they are concerned, but their true goal is to break bonds. This behavior is not only harmful, but is strongly condemned in Islam. The Prophet Muhammad said that the one who spreads gossip and causes division will not enter paradise. That shows the severity of this sin and its deep connection to the condition of the heart. A pure heart brings people together. A corrupted one tears them apart.
People who display this trait often pretend to be peacemakers. They come to you acting like they care, saying things like, I just thought you should know, or I'm only telling you this because I care about you. But in reality, they are stirring fitna, trouble, conflict, and suspicion. They tell one person something and another person something else, just to see them fight. They don't feel happy unless there is conflict. They enjoy watching others argue, distance themselves from each other, and fall apart. This is not normal human weakness. It is deliberate, repeated, and strategic. It comes from a heart that has been overtaken by jealousy, arrogance, and hatred. It's a spiritual disease that poisons everything it touches. Such people are often very charming. They know how to say the right words to make themselves look like the victim or the hero in every situation. When conflict arises, they slip away unnoticed, acting innocent. But if you pay close attention, you will realize they are the common factor in many broken relationships. They bring you negative stories about others and wait to see your reaction. They twist your words when speaking to someone else. They pretend to console one person while blaming the other. They are never interested in actual resolution or healing. In fact, when people begin to reconcile, it bothers them. They may even work harder to cause more division. This kind of person is not just damaging to individuals, they are damaging to communities. Whether it's within a family, a group of friends, a workplace, or a religious gathering, they infect the atmosphere with doubt, mistrust, and anger. Their whispers lead to arguments, and their lies lead to separation. They use others as pawns to satisfy their own ego or to maintain control. And often they are skilled at hiding their tracks, which is why it's so important to be vigilant. Islam teaches us to verify information, to avoid assumptions, and to not spread what we hear without evidence. These principles protect us from falling into the traps of such people. If someone constantly brings you gossip, if they always have something negative to say about others, or if you notice that your relationships begin to suffer after you've interacted with them, then that's a clear sign that you should be cautious. Distance yourself. You don't need to confront or fight them, just protect your heart and your peace. Surround yourself with people who speak well of others, who bring calm instead of chaos, and who genuinely want to see people united. Avoid those who thrive on division, because their presence can damage not just your worldly relationships, but also your connection with Allah. The Prophet described the believer as someone who brings benefit and harmony. So if someone consistently causes the opposite, that is not someone who belongs close to your heart or your life. Recognize the signs, act wisely, and place your trust in Allah to protect you from the harm of those who intend evil behind sweet words and false smiles. Another serious sign that reveals the nature of an evil person is their tendency to find satisfaction or pleasure in the pain of others. This kind of individual does not feel sympathy when others are suffering. Instead, they may feel empowered, delighted, or entertained by it. This behavior is completely opposite to the qualities of a believer whose heart is supposed to be filled with mercy and compassion. Islam teaches us that the one who does not show mercy to others will not be shown mercy by Allah. So when someone consistently shows joy at another's failure, mocks those who are struggling, or feels content when people are hurt or humiliated, it is a strong indicator that there is a problem deep within their soul. These people may not always express their enjoyment openly. Sometimes it shows in subtle smiles when someone is being criticized. At other times it comes out through jokes that belittle others under the guise of humor. They may say cruel things and laugh, claiming it's just a joke, but their intention is not innocent. It is meant to cut, to wound, and to make others feel inferior. They thrive on others being beneath them. This is not simply a case of someone being insensitive. It is a deliberate, repeated behavior that shows a hardened heart. A person who can look at someone else's sorrow and feel happiness is not someone to trust. The Prophet Muhammad is deeply disturbed when others suffered, even if they were non-Muslims. His mercy extended to animals and even trees. How then can someone claim to have a clean heart while taking joy in someone else's pain? Another form this behavior takes is rejoicing at the downfall of others. You may find such individuals celebrating when someone loses a job, goes through a divorce, faces public shame, or experiences a personal tragedy. Instead of offering support or staying silent out of respect, they mock, gossip, and spread the news like wildfire. They feed off drama and conflict. And the worst part is they often present themselves as innocent bystanders, or even as people trying to help, but in reality they are the ones who enjoy watching others struggle. These are the same people who become silent when something good happens to you, but grow very vocal when something bad happens. Their jealousy is so deeply rooted that your suffering brings them a sense of peace. Be very cautious with such people. The believer is supposed to feel the pain of others, to pray for them, to uplift them in hardship, and to speak gently. A cold heart that celebrates harm is dangerous, not just for others, but for its own soul. Over time, this kind of attitude distances a person from the mercy of Allah. It blinds them to their own flaws. Because they are too busy laughing at others, they forget that Allah is just, and that the pain they enjoy today could come to visit them tomorrow. No one is safe from hardship, and mocking someone today might be the reason you are tested tomorrow. This is why Islam emphasizes humility, empathy, and kindness. An evil person with this trait will often turn on you too. Today they may laugh at others. Tomorrow it may be you. Their loyalty is not to people, but to their own satisfaction. If causing harm or watching others suffer makes them feel better, then they will keep doing it to anyone, even close friends or family. Don't wait until you become their next target. Guard your heart, keep your company clean, and stay close to those who reflect the light of mercy and compassion. A person who sincerely fears Allah will never feel joy at the pain of another. Let that be your standard when deciding who to keep close and who to keep away. One of the clearest and most dangerous signs of an evil person is their comfort with lying. Lying is not just an occasional mistake for them. It becomes a habit, a pattern of behavior that they rely on to navigate through life, manipulate people, and protect their own interests. The seriousness of lying is heavily emphasized in Islam. It is not something trivial or minor. The Prophet Muhammad said that lying leads to wickedness, and wickedness leads to the hellfire. A person who lies has lost the basic moral compass that keeps a soul upright. When a person begins to lie without guilt, without hesitation, and without any attempt to correct themselves, it shows a heart that has become darkened. An evil person will lie so convincingly that others begin to doubt the truth. They mix truth with falsehood to make their lies seem more believable. They speak with confidence and may even use emotional manipulation to convince you of their innocence when they are actually guilty. This is what makes them so dangerous, because they can appear trustworthy when in reality they are working behind the scenes to deceive and betray. When someone lies, they destroy trust. And when trust is gone, every relationship becomes hollow. Whether it is between spouses, friends, family members, or colleagues, trust is the foundation. Without it, there is no safety. Evil people understand this and use it to their advantage. They gain someone's trust only to use it against them later. They may pretend to be loyal while secretly plotting something entirely different. Such people lie to hide their true intentions, lie to escape consequences, and lie to manipulate others into doing what they want. This type of dishonesty is not accidental. It is deliberate, calculated, and harmful. It is one thing to make a mistake and tell a lie out of fear or weakness, and quite another to lie continuously with no shame and no concern for how it affects others.
The evil person will often lie in subtle ways. They may not tell outright lies, but will withhold important truths, exaggerate facts, or frame a situation to make themselves look like the victim. This form of lying is harder to detect, but it is equally destructive. It creates confusion, mistrust, and emotional turmoil. Victims of such lies begin to question their own judgment, sometimes even feeling guilty for doubting the liar. That is part of the manipulation. A person who lies as a way of life has no place in your inner circle. Such people can bring immense harm. You may forgive them once, twice, even multiple times, but their behavior does not change. And that's because it's not just a bad habit. It's a reflection of who they have become.
Allah warns us in the Quran about people who say with their tongues what is not in their hearts. These are the hypocrites who pose as believers, but act in ways that completely contradict faith. Lying is a key characteristic of hypocrisy. That is why the believer should be extremely careful. If someone shows this pattern repeatedly, you are not obligated to keep giving them chances. Forgiveness in Islam does not mean tolerating abuse. It does not mean putting yourself in harm's way over and over. It means letting go of resentment but still exercising wisdom. Protecting yourself from a habitual liar is not a sin. It is self-respect. The believer is not bitten from the same hole twice. It is essential to observe people's actions and not just believe their words. A truthful heart is one of the signs of a sound believer. And a heart that constantly lies reflects a deeper darkness. Don't get fooled by charming words or sweet talk if the actions behind them are deceptive. Watch for consistency, honesty, and sincerity. That is how you'll know if someone's heart is true.